Throughout history, humans have dared to dream big. But not every grand vision reaches the finish line. From towering hotels in secretive nations to futuristic airports and unfulfilled energy revolutions, these half-finished or cancelled projects remind us how ambition can collide with harsh reality. Join us as we count down 15 of the biggest megaprojects that were never completed, each one carrying promises, controversies, and billions of dollars left in limbo. Alai Minar, Delhi, India. 14th century. We begin our journey back in the 14th century, in the heart of Delhi, India. While modern-day megaprojects may involve dizzying sums of money and advanced engineering, enormous visions existed centuries ago too. The Alai Minar is a stark reminder that ambition can falter, even in the age of sultans. Sultan Alauddin Khalji, who reigned from 1296 to 1316, was among the most powerful rulers of the Delhi Sultanate. Having expanded his empire far into southern India, he sought to stamp his authority on the capital. Nestled next to the famous Qutb Minar, the Alai Minar was meant to surpass it, reaching a planned height of about 275 feet, 84 meters. If completed, it would have dwarfed the already impressive Qutb Minar, which still stands as one of the city's great medieval monuments. Work on Alai Minar began with a massive stone base, reflecting Khalji's ambition for a tower that would symbolize his unstoppable power. Unlike smaller regional structures, constructing a giant tower required advanced techniques and an enormous workforce. Even with a determined ruler, coordinating resources, labor, and architectural know-how on this scale was daunting. When Alauddin Khalji died, the driving force behind the project vanished. Successive rulers had other priorities, mostly warfare and consolidating power. Over time, the project was left as is, an 80-foot rough stone stump. Today, visitors can see this silent testament to unfulfilled grandeur right beside the elegantly finished Qutb Minar. The Alai Minar demonstrates just how fragile massive construction efforts can be without unwavering political will, stable finances, or advanced engineering for tall structures. The remains of Alai Minar now serve as a cautionary chapter in architectural history, a 14th-century dream that never got to touch the skies. Sagrada Familia, Barcelona, Spain. In Barcelona, Spain, stands one of the world's most iconic yet unfinished landmarks, the Sagrada Familia. Begun in 1882, it was envisioned by the brilliant architect Antoni Gaudí, whose organic, nature-inspired style is unmistakable. While not abandoned, it's taken so long to complete that it's often dubbed the world's longest ongoing construction. Initially, the plan was for a typical neo-Gothic church, until Gaudí took over in 1883. He reimagined the structure into a colossal basilica blending Gothic and Art Nouveau. Gaudí knew the project would surpass his lifespan. He famously remarked, "My client is not in a hurry," referencing his devotion to God's timeline. Gaudí's designs involve hyperbolic arches, swirling columns, and an interplay of light that demands custom fabrication for almost every piece. During the Spanish Civil War, anarchists torched his workshop, destroying sketches and models. Future architects had to reconstruct Gaudí's intentions from fragments. Sagrada Familia is financed mostly by public donations and ticket sales from tourists, not by a wealthy patron or direct government support. In the modern era, digital modeling helped accelerate construction, but the COVID-19 pandemic forced further setbacks. The target to finish by 2026, marking the centenary of Gaudí's death, is now uncertain. Over 140 years into its construction, Sagrada Familia remains a must-see for visitors to Barcelona, even in its partially completed state. Some locals argue it's best as an eternal work in progress, an embodiment of Barcelona's creative spirit and cultural heritage. Sagrada Familia isn't a typical abandoned project, but its sheer scale and indefinite timeline have put it in a unique category, an uncompleted wonder that continues enchanting millions. Lake Tsuru, Romania. Few stories of incomplete megaprojects are as bizarre as Lake Tsuru in Romania. Officially declared done in the 1960s, the lake was heralded as a grand success for agricultural irrigation and flood management. In reality, it never actually materialized. Under Nicolae Ceausescu, Romania's socialist government often publicized enormous endeavors to highlight the regime's capabilities. Lake Tsuru was part of a push to control flooding along the Geo River and support local agriculture. The official narrative: the reservoir spanned over 3,700 acres, providing a reliable water source for villages and farms. Local residents noticed an obvious discrepancy: there was no water. The government's bold claims contrasted starkly with the dusty ground. Investigations revealed minimal construction and incomplete water diversion. It was, in essence, a phantom project. Over time, as Romania struggled with economic decline, details surfaced confirming Lake Tsuru's unfinished status. The entire fiasco underscored the extremes of political propaganda during Ceausescu's rule. Like many large-scale plans of that era, it was announced triumphantly but left to languish halfway. Even after Ceausescu's regime collapsed, no significant effort was made to revive Lake Tsuru. The cost and environmental logistics simply weren't practical. This story stands as a testament to how illusions can overshadow engineering realities. The farmland remains farmland, with no sign of a large reservoir for miles around. Lake Tsuru remains a cautionary tale of how politics can overshadow practicality, leaving an entire region's infrastructure improvements forever stalled. Ryugyong Hotel, Pyongyang, North Korea. In the heart of North Korea, a towering concrete pyramid pierces the skyline. The Ryugyong Hotel, one of the most notorious unfinished buildings on Earth. Conceived in 1987, it was meant to be the tallest hotel in the world, standing over 1,000 feet, 330 meters, with 105 floors. The North Korean government envisioned a structure that would surpass any competitor, showcasing the regime's might. Plans boasted 3,000 rooms, multiple revolving restaurants, and a futuristic facade that would dazzle foreign investors. By 1992, as the Soviet Union fell, North Korea's primary financial backer, funding dried up. Construction ground to a halt, leaving behind an eerie, hollow shell. For over 15 years, it stood as a colossal concrete skeleton, symbolic of the nation's economic isolation. In 2008, an Egyptian firm invested in finishing the building's exterior with glass panels, as part of a telecommunication deal with Pyongyang. The outside now appears complete, and at night LED lights shimmer along its surface. Inside, however, the structure remains unusable: no functioning hotel rooms, no grand lobby, and certainly no rotating restaurants. Occasional rumors circulate about finalizing interior work, yet none have fully materialized. With North Korea's frail economy, the Ryugyong Hotel's future is uncertain at best. The Ryugyong Hotel stands as a 105-story reminder that even the grandest ambitions can fall victim to geopolitical and financial forces far beyond an architect's control. The Stockholm Ring Road, Sweden. Now we turn to Sweden, home to progressive environmental policies and innovative urban planning. However, even in a nation known for its infrastructure expertise, not all projects succeed. The Stockholm Ring Road, a concept for a fully connected network around Sweden's capital, has remained partly finished for decades. Proposed in the mid-20th century, the plan aimed to decongest Stockholm's inner city by routing traffic around it. The Ring Road would unify highways from the north, south, and west, letting long-distance vehicles bypass central Stockholm. Sweden's strong focus on sustainability played a significant role in the Ring Road's delays. Activists and local communities raised concerns about air quality, noise pollution, and ecological disturbance in protected areas. Multiple legal battles ensued, demanding comprehensive impact studies and design revisions that cut deeply into the budget. Initially estimated at around $3 billion, the cost ballooned as the project faced perpetual holdups. Taxpayers and certain political factions questioned whether so much money should go to road building in a nation that prides itself on robust public transit. Over time, some segments of the Ring Road were built. Yet, these disjointed bits do not form a smooth bypass. Bottlenecks persist, and drivers frequently face congestion. Whether the Ring Road will ever be fully finished remains uncertain. Proponents argue it's essential for the region's economy. Opponents see better uses of funds for rail or green transport solutions. In Stockholm, the Ring Road fiasco underlines a modern conflict, balancing infrastructure growth with environmental stewardship. Each partial stretch reveals a nation torn between competing priorities. Superconducting Super Collider, Texas, USA. If you're fascinated by the Large Hadron Collider in Switzerland, you might be surprised to learn America once aimed even higher. In the late 1980s, the Superconducting Super Collider, SSC, was set to be the world's largest particle accelerator, 4 times bigger than the LHC. Yet, it never fired up a single proton beam. Congress approved the project in 1987, envisioning a 54-mile, 87 kilometers, underground ring that would smash particles at unprecedented energies. Physicists hoped to unravel mysteries like the Higgs boson decades before its eventual discovery in Europe. Though initially pegged at around $4.4 billion, the price soared to an estimated $12 billion. Government budgets tightened in the early 1990s, and many legislators saw the SSC as an expensive extravagance. By 1993, Congress pulled the plug. Several miles of tunnel lay abandoned beneath Texas farmland, and $2 billion already spent went to waste. The heartbreak extended beyond mere finances. America lost out on global leadership in cutting-edge physics research. As the SSC lay dormant, Europe's CERN advanced the Large Hadron Collider. The LHC would eventually confirm the Higgs boson in 2012. Today, the empty SSC site stands as a somber testament to big science overshadowed by political and budgetary battles. The Superconducting Super Collider was a dream of pushing humanity's scientific frontiers. Its cancellation underscores how cutting-edge endeavors, though revolutionary, can crumble under shifting political and fiscal winds. Torre Escalera, Cartagena, Colombia. Perched along Colombia's Caribbean coast, Cartagena draws tourists with its colonial charm and vibrant nightlife. But the city also holds the incomplete remains of a grand residential ambition, Torre Escalera. Initiated in 2005, it was set to become one of the tallest buildings in Colombia, a symbol of a real estate boom that aimed to recast Cartagena's skyline. Originally, the skyscraper was to rise 675 feet, 206 meters, across 58 floors, offering luxury apartments overlooking the Caribbean Sea. Cartagena's tourism surge led investors to believe wealthy nationals and foreigners would snap up prime coastal units. By 2007, progress halted at around the 28th floor, when engineers discovered fundamental issues with the tower's foundation. Soil tests revealed the ground was too soft. The design hadn't fully accounted for geological conditions, meaning the structure posed an escalating risk of tilt or collapse if completed. Contractors, architects, and city authorities fell into a web of lawsuits. Each party blamed another for the fiasco. Repairing or retrofitting the building required enormous expense, effectively negating any profit potential. The half-finished core now stands as an eyesore in the city's otherwise picturesque waterfront. Fencing and warning signs keep the public at bay. Demolition has been considered but remains stalled amid ongoing disputes over who shoulders the cost. Today, Torre Escalera reminds Cartagena that prime coastal land alone can't guarantee success. With uncertain ground below and lawsuits overhead, this tower's lofty vision will likely remain unfulfilled. Argentinian high-speed rail. Argentina, a nation of vast distances, once flirted with a bold plan to revolutionize its rail system. In 2006, the government proposed a high-speed rail connecting Buenos Aires, Rosario, and Córdoba, 3 major economic hubs. Speeds of 200 miles per hour, 320 kilometers per hour, were promised, slashing journeys from 28 hours to mere 3 or 4. At a time when Argentina's economy showed signs of growth, officials believed a bullet train would revitalize internal travel, cut road congestion, and spur modernization. Backers imagined an Argentine national revival, paralleling Europe's TGV or Japan's Shinkansen networks. Financing hinged on international loans, including from a major French bank, but the country's volatile economy made lenders uneasy. Argentina's existing rail network was in disrepair. Upgrading to handle bullet trains meant extensive track replacement, new signal systems, and advanced maintenance, a monumental cost. With each new administration, public debate grew. Should billions go to trains or other social needs? By the late 2000s, economic conditions worsened. High inflation and currency controls undermined investor confidence. Official support for the bullet train wavered until the project was quietly dropped. Limited preliminary work, like feasibility studies, remains. Some modernization of conventional rail has occurred, but the Buenos Aires to Rosario, Córdoba bullet train dream never got on track. It underscores how quickly large-scale infrastructure projects can derail when fiscal conditions shift. Argentina's high-speed rail concept shows the fine line between ambitious national transformation and harsh budget constraints. The rails remain conventional, and that 200 miles per hour aspiration faded into history. Kemper County Project, Mississippi, USA. The Kemper County Energy Facility in Mississippi was once touted as the future of clean coal. Known simply as the KR or Kemper Project, it envisioned a revolutionary approach: convert lignite coal into gas and capture the bulk of carbon emissions. But after billions spent, the dream fizzled out, leaving an expensive plant that never met its original purpose. Developed by Southern Company and Mississippi Power around 2010, Kemper aimed to use integrated gasification combined cycle technology to keep coal's reliability while curbing emissions. Advocates claimed it would produce electricity with 65% fewer carbon emissions, a possible blueprint for reviving coal in a greener era. Estimated at $2.4 billion originally, Kemper ballooned to over $7.5 billion by 2017. Technical woes dogged the gasification process, from malfunctioning equipment to difficulties in safely storing and rerouting CO2. Critics argued that truly clean alternatives, wind, solar, were better investments than unproven coal tech. As the cost soared, regulators and investors lost patience. By 2017, Mississippi Power announced it would abandon the coal gasification segment and revert Kemper to a natural gas plant. Billions of dollars in ratepayer and shareholder money vanished into a partially realized concept. While the site still generates electricity using simpler means, the once heralded clean coal revolution never arrived. Kemper stands as a pointed lesson in how lofty technology promises can crumble under real-world engineering and economic pressures, turning a shining star of clean coal into a cautionary tale. New Mexico City Airport at Texcoco. With its population over 20 million, Mexico City has one of the most congested airports on Earth. To address this, the government launched an ultra-modern mega-airport in Texcoco, promising 6 runways and an annual capacity of 125 million passengers. But political shifts and ballooning costs caused the half-built behemoth to be scrapped. Revealed in 2014, the airport's architecture, by star designer Norman Foster, featured a sweeping steel and glass roof that would let in abundant natural light. By replacing Benito Juarez Airport, it aimed to double passenger capacity and become Latin America's leading aviation hub. Texcoco sits on a former lake bed, raising concerns about soil stability and flood risks. Some locals feared displacement, while indigenous communities claimed they were excluded from the decision process. Environmental groups highlighted the region's vulnerability to sinking land and the disruption to local ecosystems. In 2018, newly elected President Andrés Manuel López Obrador, AMLO, held a public referendum. Although the voting process was contested, the result favored canceling the airport. By then, costs had climbed to $13 billion, making it a lightning rod for critics accusing the government of overspending. Construction already in progress was halted. With steel shells and partial foundations left behind, the site was re-envisioned as an ecological park. Meanwhile, Mexico City's airport congestion issues persist, prompting alternative expansion plans or repurposing of existing military air bases. An airport once poised to redefine travel for a megacity now rests as a quiet testament to how political winds can swiftly ground even the loftiest of designs. Xiangjia Zhangnan Dam, Chongqing, China. China is home to some of the world's grandest dams, from the Three Gorges to numerous smaller-scale hydro stations. Yet one notable plan, the Xiangjia Dam, often called the Zhangnan Dam, never saw completion. The government shelved it after realizing it threatened invaluable aquatic habitats. Proposed for the Yangtze River near Chongqing, the dam aimed to generate 1,700 megawatts of power, enough for millions of homes. It followed a pattern of hydropower expansion to satisfy China's booming energy needs. The designated dam site included part of a nature reserve safeguarding rare fish species. Conservationists warned that altering river flow and constructing a large reservoir would devastate these populations. Having already built the Three Gorges Dam, Chinese officials faced rising criticism for further displacing communities and habitats. In 2011, the Ministry of Environmental Protection halted the project pending further study. By 2015, it was formally cancelled, citing irreparable ecological damage. This decision reflected China's evolving outlook, showing that environmental considerations can override commercial and industrial expansions. For many, Xiangjia Dam's abandonment signified a new willingness to balance growth with nature. The rare fish species got a reprieve, and the region's biodiversity remained intact. Still, some local officials lamented the lost economic potential, underscoring the trade-offs in large-scale endeavors. Zainanhai Dam stands as a moment where China's unstoppable construction boom yielded to the call of environmental stewardship, and the world noticed. Golden Finance 117, Tianjin, China. Sticking with China, we look at Golden Finance 117, once projected to be among the tallest buildings in the world at 1,958 feet, 597 meters. Work began in 2008 amid China's real estate boom, but economic headwinds stalled the dream. Called the China 117 Tower in some press releases, the plan included 117 floors of offices, luxury apartments, and a 5-star hotel. Upon completion, it would overshadow most global skyscrapers, rivaling icons like Shanghai Tower and Dubai's Burj Khalifa. The structure reached its full topped-out height around 2015, but finishing the interior required significant capital. As China tightened property market regulations to curb speculation, developers struggled to secure additional funds. Oversupply in Tianjin's high-end real estate sector dampened demand. Coupled with the government's clampdown, the tower languished. By 2021, Golden Finance 117 stood incomplete, its glossy exterior mostly done, its interior largely barren. Official statements occasionally suggest it might resume if economic conditions improve. But many see it as a vertical ghost, another testament to how swiftly a real estate bubble can burst. For now, it remains one of the tallest unoccupied buildings on the planet, a silent silhouette overshadowing Tianjin's horizon. The saga of Golden Finance 117 underscores China's sometimes breakneck approach to development, and how a single market shift can freeze even the mightiest of megastructures in place. Virgil Siege Summer Nuclear Expansion, South Carolina, USA. Nuclear energy has long promised abundant, clean power, but building new plants is fraught with complexity. The Virgil Siege Summer Nuclear Expansion aimed to add 2 advanced reactors, a bold American push for nuclear's comeback. Instead, it collapsed in 2017, saddling the state with billions in costs and no operational units. Proposed in the early 2000s, the expansion involved AP1000 reactors, a next-generation design by Westinghouse Electric. Proponents champion these reactors as safer and more efficient than previous models, hoping to usher in a nuclear renaissance for the U.S. Estimated at $9.8 billion initially, it soared above $25 billion. Delays in receiving specialized parts, engineering mishaps, and supply chain bottlenecks plagued the timeline. Westinghouse themselves filed for bankruptcy in 2017 under the weight of these cost overruns. As expenses rose, local ratepayers found themselves shouldering increased fees. Public trust eroded, leading to lawsuits and calls for accountability. Questions arose. If nuclear is indeed a cornerstone for clean energy, why couldn't this project stick to budget or timetable? By mid-2017, utilities officially scrapped further reactor construction, leaving cooling towers and partially assembled components deserted. The fiasco not only undermined nuclear expansion in the US but also cast doubt on the viability of next-gen reactor designs. The summer expansion collapsed under technological, financial, and regulatory pressures, fueling skepticism of large-scale nuclear in America. It remains an unfinished memorial to big dreams undone. Dubai Creek Tower, Dubai's skyline is a testament to architectural unupmanship, world's tallest, biggest, most luxurious. In 2016, Emaar Properties revealed the Dubai Creek Tower aimed to exceed 1,300 meters, 4,265 feet, and eclipse the Burj Khalifa. Yet the icon of tomorrow stands frozen in time today. Inspired by the lily flower and an Islamic minaret, the slender tower was to feature steel cables fanning out for stability. The crowning feature would be a 360 degrees observation platform and multiple scenic decks, designed as a global tourist magnet. Foundations were laid shortly after the tower's unveiling, accompanied by grand marketing, claims of overshadowing not just existing buildings but any future competitor's attempt. Emaar's track record with Burj Khalifa spurred confidence. Investors worldwide anticipated another record breaker. As COVID-19 hit in 2020, Dubai's tourism and property market reeled. Emaar paused work indefinitely, with no new timeline announced. The tower's viability also came under question. A slow property market means fewer potential corporate tenants and luxury buyers. Officially, Dubai Creek Tower isn't cancelled. Yet industry experts doubt it will resume soon, given shifting real estate demands. Even if it restarts, the technical challenge of anchoring an ultra-slim structure that tall in sandy foundations remains daunting. In a city built on unrelenting ambition, the Dubai Creek Tower might remain the biggest what-if monument to a dream that soared too far, too fast for current economic realities. High Speed 2, HS2, in the UK. We end our countdown with a project that's garnered tremendous controversy in recent years, the United Kingdom's HS2, High Speed 2. Initially billed as a rail revolution connecting London, Birmingham, Manchester, and Leeds, it has faced repeated cost escalations, route cancellations, and public outcry. Proposed around 2009 and greenlit in phases, HS2 targeted drastically reduced travel times. London to Manchester in barely an hour. The second phase aimed to tie into Leeds, leveling up northern England's economy. Early estimates hovered near $42 billion. As design complexities grew, digging lengthy tunnels, building large viaducts, forecasts topped $130+ billion. Politicians and taxpayers questioned the rationale of plowing more money into an ever-expanding black hole. In 2023, the government scrapped major sections, notably the line from Birmingham to Leeds, and more recently the Birmingham to Manchester portion. Critics say what remains is effectively London-centric, undermining the original vow to transform northern regions. Opponents highlight the destruction of ancient woodlands and rural communities. Meanwhile, supporters argue a high-speed link is vital to reduce carbon-heavy car and domestic air travel. Despite partial construction ongoing, the project is a shadow of its original plan. If fully completed, it will be at a fraction of the promised scale, significantly diminishing its potential impact. HS2 closes our list of unfinished megaprojects, where even in a stable, developed country, political winds and economic strain can gut a once-grand blueprint. HS2 shows us that no matter how ambitious, infrastructure dreams can be reshaped or cancelled in the face of rising costs and competing priorities. From the Alai Minar's rough stone base to the Ryugyong Hotel's Phantom Pyramid, from the half-finished Dubai Creek Tower to the paused expansions of HS2, we've witnessed that grandeur and ambition alone do not guarantee success. Economic downturns, political changes, engineering challenges, and environmental concerns all shape the fate of these undertakings. Some of these projects might still find new life if market conditions and public will align. Others stand abandoned as silent behemoths, reminding us that, however bold our aspirations, reality can intervene. They're stories of innovation and hubris, of human imagination tested against the world's complexities. Thank you for joining us on this tour of the 15 biggest megaprojects that never reached completion. If you enjoyed this dive into architecture, infrastructure, and ambition, like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth explorations. Until next time, May we keep dreaming, but never forget the lessons from these towering reminders of what could have been.